Hello everyone, it's Diva Carla, and I am here for the it's the Virgo full moon astrology reading. So I am here in my sunroom where rain or melting snow or something is falling on the roof and snowflakes are falling outside. There's ice on the driveway. It is winter in Maine, and it's one of my favorite seasons, although it does tend to go on forever. So while I wait for people to come on, and when you do come on, please say hello. And also, I have a request that if what I'm saying is resonating with you, send me the likes and the hearts. That's always gratifying to see those floating across the screen. And also, if you have a question about what's going on in the astrology right now and how it might relate to your life, it will help me to kind of channel the information that's most relevant to you. Because this chart here, I have very few lines drawn on it because when I really studied the chart, what seemed most important were the conjunctions, the oppositions, and the transits. So to give you a little bit of orientation, right now it is around noon Eastern time, and we are about 23 hours away from the exact moment of the full moon, looking at it Eastern time. So the full moon is tomorrow, February 19th at 10:53 a.m. And right now we are already in the full moon window, the 24 hours before, the 24 hours after. Some people have an even more extensive window, but certainly the 24 hours before, the 24 hours after. Now, the 24 to 48 hours before a big aspect like a new moon or a full moon, it's called the applying aspect, and that is when we feel the energy, the tension. We feel it can be the most challenging aspect. I personally, physically and emotionally feel the change when, like seconds after the exact moment, at 10:54 a.m. tomorrow, I will have this huge release of energy as the full moon has passed. And sometimes it's best to do your personal work and ceremony during that application time. Sometimes it's best to wait. And part of that is individual, part of that is what you're specifically working on. Part of that is just, the vagaries of the calendar in your life. So just being aware that you're looking at different energies before and after. And it might be interesting to do some experiments and do full moon work before and see how that works out for you, and then do full moon work after and see how that affects things going forward. Full moons are often seen as one way to look at them is it's the coming to fruit, coming to a completion or a clarity of whatever happened in the new moon. So that's always available. And there's always other things. I see the full moon as it's definitely shedding light on emotions. In the astrological symbolism, the moon often stands for emotion. And remember that emotion is energy in motion. Emotion is it's energy that we use to motivate us, to fuel our decisions. It really gives us different information than what we get through our intellect. And that can be capricious information. Sometimes when we do things based on emotion, we're not necessarily happy with how things work out. it can be wild and crazy. When we feel ourselves wanting to act from a surge of emotion, it's often very wise to take a pause and say, what's really going on here? Is this information what I really need to act on, or is it the emotional information clouding some more practical information that needs to inform this decision or this thought or this action? So the other thing about the moon is that it also taps deep into our intuitive body. The emotions are physical. They're felt and experienced physically, and our intuition is felt and experienced physically. So we want to have a good relationship between our intuitive body, our emotional body, and our intellect. And the information that comes from intuition is predominantly reliable. So emotion, always have checks and balances around emotional information, and become practiced and fluent in your own intuitive information, and then learn how to triangulate between your intellectual information, logical, and the facts as they're presented to you, and knowing how to drop beneath the facts to get the true facts, which can often be more intuitive in nature. So that's my little soapbox about what the moon means. And full moons, we tend to feel that because the moon is right there in the sky overnight. The night is the time of the 12th house, the intuitive, the dream. And there is the moon illuminating it. And we can really see it. The new moon is obscured by the sun, and they are working together in a mysterious way. The full moon is opposite. It is reflecting all of the sun's energy and wisdom back to us. And so it's a time of really grappling with your emotions, your intuitions, and opening up the space for that. And this full moon is happening in Virgo at 0 degrees, 042, first degree of Virgo. And the new moon, the sun is in the first degree of Pisces. I'm excited because my birth time is Pisces. That's my sun sign. And so from tomorrow morning on, for the next 30 days, 29 and a half to 30 days, I am in a power time, a celebration time. So I'm going to back up a minute because I have here the chart, the transits of an hour ago when I ran this chart again, because I wanted to know where things are right now as we're talking. I could see that tomorrow at the full moon, things are already beginning to shift and move. So I wanted to see, what are we looking at right now? This full moon applying time. So we have some fascinating, potent oppositions and some extremely potent conjunctions. And let's take a look at those. Obviously, the sun and... Wait, back up one more time. I see some people are on, so please say hello in the comments if you're able. Excuse me. Oh dear, I didn't bring water and I'm going to need it. Say hello if you're in a position where you can type in the comments and let me see that you're here. What have we got going on? Okay, as I'm speaking, the sun is in the last minutes or hours of Aquarius. It enters Pisces this evening a little after 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The moon is still at the midpoint of Leo. Chiron just this morning moved into Aries, where it will be for 9 years or more. After going back and forth into Pisces, crossing the Aries point, it is right there at 0.01 Aries. This is, and I mention this because we're looking at, hi Teresa, thank you, glad to see you here. We're feeling at this moment all of this sign change energy. And just as the applying full moon, we feel more strongly. The sun about to change signs. Chiron has just released changing signs. Hecate has changed signs. The moon will be changing signs. And Uranus is at the edge, the last degree of Aries. And Pallas Athene is at the last degree of Libra. So we have a lot of cardinal first point activity going on. The first degree of cardinal signs, that's the Aries point. And we have, that sets a tone for the entire chart. That has this initiation energy that is going to carry through, certainly through this next moon cycle, the next 30 days. And it can carry through for many cycles, through the rest of the year. It reverberates. So notice at this Pisces moon, how did it go? The first new moon of 2019 was an eclipse. That's still active. Then we had the full moon at the first degree of Leo and Aries, and now we have the full moon at the first degree of Pisces and Virgo. And that's going to be happening. In another couple of moon cycles, it will start moving over into the second and third degrees. But we have this powerful changing sign and connecting. So that means it's a good time to do some solid work around what's coming up for you. What are you creating? What are you healing? What are you changing? And it also creates an opportunity for life to send you some opportunities that feel like snowballs in the face. Like, what was that? What just happened here? How did I invite that into my life? What am I supposed to be learning from that? Can I have a gentler, more delicious lesson? Why do all the lessons have to suck? I mean, we get that. That's, I know a lot of us have been experiencing that, especially the last 48 to 72 hours. So that's what happens when those energies combine, being in the first degree of a sign and changing signs. So what's happening right now, 24 hours roughly before the full moon, is Venus and Saturn are in an exact conjunction. And Venus is going to slip a little further. Actually, this weekend, they were in an exact conjunction. Venus, beauty, love, erotic love, sexuality, abundance, a lot of 8th house scorpionic qualities that are in their light space. Venus, well, like all goddesses, she has her dark side and her vengeful, furious side, her fierce side. She is basically the one we want to sit back and rest in and let her shine through us as the feminine. And she's hanging out with Saturn right now. So what's that mean? Well, it can be challenging. Anytime Saturn shows up, he brings his challenges. He brings his discernment, his logic, his rules, his tight container, the way things ought to be. He could send your personal Venus realms into shoulding, especially in Capricorn. He could be saying, we need to make some rules about this. We need to control all of this beauty, truth, art, and sexuality, and the abundance. I always say, you've got that going on. Watch for it coming up from inside yourself, your self-judgment, your the rules that you learned as a child coming back to challenge your bright and shining self wanting to come through. And Saturn is always available as a helpful resource. As tough as it may be, our Saturn and Venus together in Capricorn saying, get a handle on your money, get a handle on your income, get a handle on your sexuality, bring some structure. Art works best when there is structure. It becomes, structure makes things comprehensible and useful. It helps them to work better. So what in your life needs more structure? Please use Saturn to give structure to the things you're creating, the things you're concerned about, the things that feel out of control in your life. And with Venus involved, sex and money could be very well what you're looking at. Also in Capricorn, we have a triple conjunction exact at 22 between Chariklo and Pluto. And coming up about a degree off of them is Psyche. So Pluto, death and transformation. Also, we have a lot of scorpionic energy moving in Capricorn right now. They don't get along that well. Capricorn would like to control, and Scorpio will not be controlled. So, well, just take that for how it lands in your life. Chariklo is the feminine consort, the feminine aspect of Chiron energy. She is a healer. She tends to work with flowing energy. She has a watery energy, and she works with the herbs, the plants that grow in the water, that need water to thrive and multiply. So Chariklo is there with Pluto. Explore the plant medicines. Whatever is up for you in your life, ask to know, is there an herb, a plant medicine that you need to bring into your life, either as something you ingest, something you have in the environment, something that is in a vase or a pot on your desk? How does it need to be in your world? So do some research about that. And if you know an herbalist, I would say get to know one. That would not be me. I can sometimes intuitively say this plant or that, but that's not my area of expertise. So find, especially if you're working with a health issue or a serious emotional issue that you just feel like you need some support around it, consult an herbalist who can really tap into the spirit of the plants and support you in whatever plutonic and Psyche moment. Psyche, one flavor of Psyche that I have heard, and it seems to work that way, the wound you believe you cannot heal. So when Psyche and Pluto are getting together, you are about to have a big shift around this persistent pattern. And that comes up again in Pisces very profoundly. So this is we've got a pattern of creating containers for transformation, getting a handle on things, and in some level mastery so that you can move forward. Anything that's happening out of left field, like an interaction with people, something that came out of your mouth that you're like, oh God, why did I say that? Something you did, something you regret, something that a dream you had that doesn't make any sense, anything that's got you saying, what the fuck? Look for what it is teaching you, what's opening up inside of you that is ready to transform. Really look at how you might be clinging to patterns, how you are embracing your cage that makes you feel safe, and it is not serving you anymore. This is kind of interesting. I feel how I am making a lot of times these full moon and new moon readings are more about the collective, and this one is really personal. I think that's because a lot of personal planets are on the move, and the healer planets are on the move. So Psyche, the wound you believe you cannot heal, is merging energies with Pluto, saying, what are you ready to let die? You can let it die. You can give it to Pluto to be carried off into the underworld, and you can return. This is like the initiation path. You can return transformed with your gifts. Your gifts are on the other side of what's healing. And Caraclo is saying, find some medicine to help, and that may very well be plant medicine. Moving right along. I'm going to skip over to Uranus at the last degree of Aries. At the same moment of the full moon tomorrow, looking at the full moon chart, we have Pallas Athene at 2929, the last half degree, the last of Libra, and Uranus at the last half degree of Aries. So Uranus is things that come out of left field, things that come as a surprise, things you're not expecting. Also, incredibly spiritual. It can be things that impact you spiritually, that open your heart, make you weep, bring insight, that trigger change, that trigger trauma. A trauma memory. It's everything can be exquisitely beautiful or exquisitely painful, or all of it all at once in this great vibrating light and dark strobe of what one of my teachers says, what it is, stepping between slices of light. We exist, we don't exist. We are in this constant state of vibration. So we have Uranus about to shift into Taurus, Earth grounded out of fire, away from the Uranus-Eris conjunction that's been going on for 3 years, and into Taurus, Earth. We can ground some of this energy and begin to master it, and let it become embodied in us, so that Uranus is not something to fear, but something to use, like a wand. And this is opposite Juno. Said the wrong thing. Pallas Athene. Pallas Athene is mental, intellectual strength and strategy. And these two are opposite. That means they are looking at each other. They are projecting to each other. And they can read each other. So I take this as apply your intellect to whatever Uranian effect might be coming up for you, especially as this energy releases over the next few days and that sign changes for both of them. Yeah. Strategy, it's a good time to make a plan. It's a good time to study something. You need more information. Apply your intellect to getting that information. Consult experts, whether through books or coaching or spiritual counseling or your accountant, you know. A lot of us need to be talking to our accountants now in the United States, tax time. It will do you in good stead because in Pisces, let's move to Pisces. Before we move to Pisces, I'm going to look at, I'm going to look two things. Mars and Magdalena are in an exact conjunction. As of now, they're both, Mars is at 30 and Magdalena is at 31. Tomorrow they will be slightly separated, but still both at 3 degrees Taurus. And I just mentioned that because Magdalena is feminine Christ consciousness, and she is merging energies with Mars. Masculine energy, focused energy, fiery energy, angry energy. And Magdalena is making all of that energy sacred. This is a resource for you to use. And Uranus and Mars work together really well, and they can be trouble when they're conjuncting or in another kind of aspect. They've just passed through a conjunction, so Mars has picked up Uranian energy and has brought it in service to Magdalena, feminine Christ consciousness. So this is about to work again, coming back to Chiron right here, entering Aries. Be interesting to know where this point, Chiron is going to be passing in your chart for the next 9 years. Where is Aries in your chart? Chiron is healer, mentor. He is grounding. He is a teacher. He will bring you whatever experiences you need to learn. He will see you through those experiences. He's not as intense as Saturn, say on the first and second Saturn returns. He does say around the age of 50, you have your Chiron return. It takes Chiron about 50 years to go around the zodiac wheel. He says you know enough. You are mature enough. And it also means you are old enough, mature enough, wise enough, strong enough to go through your next level of healing. That's why a lot of crap, a lot of dealing with childhood abuse or persistent patterns that we learned in childhood doesn't really happen in a meaningful way until we're in our late 40s, early 50s, and Chiron is starting to bring us the strength to do that. And he will guide us through. And this is a long time. I think he's in Aries longer than any other sign. So this is happening, and there's no denying it. And it's right here, this full moon energy is ushering in fact, this entire moon cycle of the full moon and new moon in Pisces is ushering in this shift of Chiron in Aries. And here's backing up from Chiron in Aries. is all the action in Pisces. So we've got two big conjunctions. We've got, sorry, I'm looking at the symbols and I have to find my left brain so I can get the words out correctly. I'm such a kinesthetic person that I probably should be up dancing around while I'm doing this. Neptune is at the midway point in Pisces. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. Neptune is dreams and visions on the positive, creativity, the big vision of your life, the big vision of things you're creating, the big vision that is symbolic and dreamlike. And it's also the shadow of that delusion, illusion, confusion. We have Mercury. Mercury is surgical. Mercury is communication, technology, speed. Mercury moves fast. The fastest thing moving around the, he does a lot of moving, three retrogrades in a year. And so he's always around, bringing new information to whatever aspect is going on. And right now, he is conjunct. He is like a surgical knife slicing through the great amorphous cloud that can be Neptune, that you can turn this way and see beautiful visions and creativity and inspiration. You turn that way and you're like, who am I? What am I doing here? And what's going on in the world? Or I thought I had it and I lost it. Fog, mental fog, the dream that you can't remember when you wake up in the morning, the perfect article, blog post that you can't remember now that you're sitting in front of your computer. Also, the exact right thing to say when hello, Annie, good to see you, thank you. The exact right thing to say when someone challenges you or, pulls your string, triggers you. God, I used to have that so much. It's not as much of an issue anymore, but I used to spend lots and lots of times having imaginary conversations with assholes because they said something and I caved, or I just was deer in the headlights and couldn't respond from strength. And I let it stew, and now it's just kind of like, block, go away, leave me alone. I can't help you. So I'm going to say, because Mercury governs communication, be really aware. This is still going on. It's exact right now. Oh, it's applying right now. Overnight will be exact, and tomorrow at the new moon, Mercury will have passed the exactness, but it's a really big, relatively long-lasting transit for these two to be in conjunction. So, if you may notice that you had bizarre, yes, Teresa, exactly. This is the aspect that's going on. And it informs what's going on for your full moon. And be aware. Be aware of what you say, because this is going to be going on for a while. Be aware of what others say to you. Be aware of how you respond. Let your triggers subside. Do not go off on the thing, because it may not matter. It's 99% of what somebody says is about them. Only 1% has anything to do with you at all. And when you respond, or react, 99% of that is about you, not about them. So give it plenty of space. It's almost 100% of where two people are not meeting. So if it's a relationship that matters to you, give it some time, give it some love. Say, if you need to address what's going on, give it a couple of days until this aspect separates. Say, I really don't understand what happened. I'd love to talk with you about it. Are you open to a meeting on Wednesday? If it's a relationship that has no meaning to you, that is like, what trolls on Facebook, definitely block, delete. Or people that you don't really know, but you follow and they follow you, but relationship is not a real relationship, block, delete. Don't give it your energy. And everybody gets to get a life. Online is not our lives. Let's remember that. All right, and then I'm saving. Okay, any questions about Mercury and Neptune or anything else I've said? Put them in the comments. I'll come back later and look at comments and give you some insight or a suggestion if you'd like that. So, stay with me. My very favorite aspect of this day, of this full moon, and today is in Pisces, Vesta conjunct Nessus. This is going on right now. They are exact at 8 degrees and change of Pisces. Why do I love this one so much? I love Vesta. Vesta is one of the most supportive, divine, feminine planets that we've got. She is the sacred flame. I associate her with the womb. The womb for women is the hearth and the altar. The temple. The temple is the place that encloses and protects the altar. The hearth is the altar of the home. The altar is the hearth of the temple. So it is the most sacred space. It is the space where you can go to learn, to invoke, to receive guidance, to pray. And you want to tend to this hearth through self-love, self-care, study, spiritual practice. So Vesta stands for devotion. And we also have to recognize that both male and female, we fuel this hearth, the eternal flame from Roman times. That's who Vesta took care of, the eternal flame. And that was both took care of the gods, took care of the government, and took care of the people. People could come from their households and ignite their fires from the eternal flame. And I just recognized an association with Baba Yaga with that. That's another story entirely. So for us human beings, male and female, that eternal flame is ignited and sustained by our sexual energy, our erotic energy, our life force. So these things all work together. The sacredness of our erotic energy, our spiritual practice, and our devotion to our purpose, to ourselves, our complete selves as spiritual beings, as human beings, as the agents of divine on earth, the hands and feet of God and Goddess. Vesta, she's beautiful. And she does good work when she shows up as an energy, as an avatar or an archetype. And right now she is merging energies with Nessus. And why I love Nessus so much, he is a motherfucker, a son of a bitch. He can be hard, really hard, because he speaks of trauma. He reminds us of trauma, the trauma that we may have experienced in our lives and the trauma that has happened through our lineage. And he also shows up as both perpetrator and victim, because we are all both throughout our history. So he's got a really holistic and complicated view of this trauma thing. And it's often associated with substances and inappropriate touch, sexuality, rape, sex abuse, incest. And all of the fallout of that. I just saw yesterday V-Day here in Belfast. They did a lovely time of gathering and ritual, and we watched City of God. That is a movie that's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, or you can probably get it at a video store or on demand some way if you're not a Netflix person. It's not City of God, I said the wrong thing, City of Joy. City of Joy is the title, and it is a city in the Congo where they have opened the doors for women to heal who have been victims of rape as a weapon of war. It's a weapon of genocide. And it is extraordinarily, it will have you weeping. It's like another one of those things, a lot of the movies I've been recommending lately, watch with a friend. To watch alone could be too difficult. And it is about joy, because the premise of the City of Joy, the foundation is we will turn women from victims into leaders. And we will transmute pain into joy. And so they have approximately a year, I think it's a year, maybe longer. I didn't really get clear about that. I'm going to watch it again. Where they are finding ways to help women, taking them through processes, giving them nurture and love and safety so they can find themselves again through the horrors that they have experienced. And this is what we need to do for ourselves. And if these women can live through what they've lived through and become powerful, so can each of us. So Nessus and Vesta together, what this says to me is that this full moon window is a time for you to drop into some of your most challenging healing. Again, this reverberates with Chariklo, Pluto, and Psyche, the wound you believe you can never heal, and Pluto saying heal it. Well, here you have this powerhouse of energy, because what happens when you heal yourself, you heal your lineage backwards and forwards. And that reverberates into the world around you. The work that is happening in City of Joy in the Congo helps us. And the work that we do for ourselves, we can send to strengthen those women and other people around the world. So this is important. It's kind of like your duty to do this work for all the reasons. Energetically, your lineage, your ancestry, the future, the children that come through your body, or nieces and nephews if you haven't had children of your own, and the work that you will do in the world when you have cleared this challenge, this wound that keeps you struggling, that keeps you feeling you're not good enough, that you'll never be able to change you'll never be able to have what you want. You'll never be able to show up with the power that you want. You'll never be able to bring this vision that you have into reality. Well, maybe you will and maybe you won't. But a necessary stop is Nessus. And Vesta is saying now. Now is a safe, warm time to begin that exploration. Depending on what's going on and where you are in your journey, maybe it's time just to take another look and polish up some work you've done in the past. Maybe it's time to go a little deeper, to dig out a root that you didn't catch the first time. Maybe it's something that you really need help on. Maybe you need to work with a healer, a therapist, a circle. And I will tell you, this is the work that I do with women. So if you would like to inquire about how I can help, please send me a message and we can talk about how that might work. And here's another thing. As I was looking at this an hour ago, I realized, I have something to give you that can help you get started on that. I have a free gift that is going to be available on my new website, and I'm going to make it available now. I'll get the link up sometime this evening, and I'll put it in the comments for those of you who are here. It is about exploring the boxes that you're in, those places where you feel small or constrained or repressed, where you've felt hurt and you're protecting yourself from more hurt, or you don't know quite how to deal with the hurt because healing hurt hurts. It's a process. The path to joy can sometimes be incredibly painful, and that path is possible when you can bring joy into the process. So I'm going to, besides this reading, which I hope is helpful to you, I'm going to make a gift to you of, and I don't even remember the title of it because I've been working and changing titles on this process for quite a lot. I think it's Sex, Wealth, and Voice, Finding Your Divine Feminine Power is the current title. So that is a pure gift, and there's also the possibility of getting your own reading or just talking to me about how we can work together. And there is the possibility of tonight here in the Northeast. The moon is big and full, and we're going to be cloudy, but by morning, by dawn, the moon will be visible, and tomorrow night the moon will rise in a clear sky. So bring joy into your life by looking at the moon, looking at the stars. Be present with the beauty, the physical beauty of these astrological archetypes that have informed us today. So thank you so much for being here. It has been my pleasure and joy to be with you, and I will see you a bit later in the comments, and soon in 2 weeks it will be new moon. Woohoo! Bye-bye.